to some very controversial comments from the man who is about to take charge of the biggest teaching union in Europe. If you've not seen this, you're not going to believe this. Daniel Kabedi is the president-elect of the National Education Union, whose members overwhelmingly rejected a pay offer earlier this week. And it's now emerged that Kabedi made some alarming comments at the Socialist Workers' Party's Marxism conference last year. The Times quotes him as saying this, that industrial action was about reasserting our professional control, taking back control of an education system from a brutally racist state that sends refugees to Rwanda. He also went on to reportedly say that we need a complete overhaul and it is not simply about pay, it's basically about overthrowing the structure of society. So this guy, in charge of the largest teaching union in Europe, loads of teachers, one would imagine most teachers in the UK, essentially wanting them to strike not just about pay, but to overthrow society. Good stuff. So Chris McGovern joins me now. He's a former head teacher and now chair of the campaign for real education. This sounds a bit ominous, Chris.
Very ominous, not surprising to me, of course, because I've been warning about the National Education Union for some time. And it's very helpful, actually, for the new leader of the union to tell us how he feels about things. As a teacher for 35 years, I'm obviously concerned because it's bringing the profession into disrepute. I think a lot of parents will be alarmed. And actually, to be honest, a lot of teachers won't support this line at all. But here we have someone who's going to be the leader of the main union, the biggest teacher union in Europe, as you say, a political agenda. And it's going to be a bit like 1984, isn't it, where George Orwell talked about 2 minutes of hate every day. We have that in the hate yourself, hate your country, hate your empire or the Commonwealth. The interesting thing is, of course, people are queuing up to come.
But also sorry, Chris.
In the Commonwealth.
Chris, I'm sorry. It's hate the kids. It's hate the kids. But going into teaching, OK, you want to be paid well for it and you want to have a decent living and you have a good pension and you get decent holidays and all of that. Fine. It is not about overthrowing the fabric of society and replacing it from the ground up with Marxism. It is not that. It is about fundamentally teaching children. And this guy, from where I'm sitting, could very well stand accused of not caring about kids.
Well, as I say, it's most helpful to have someone in his position stating what our campaign group have been saying for a long time. The National Education Union is a revolutionary union. It's a bit like Mao's revolutionary guards. They want a cultural revolution, they want a social revolution, a political revolution. This is serious. You could dismiss it as being, it's just a lot of froth and nonsense. It's much more serious than that. These leaders want the teachers to continue to brainwash the children. There's a real contest in place for the soul of our life and our community and our young people.
How dangerous is this guy, Chris? How dangerous is this guy? You know, I'm reading reports here in the Jewish Chronicle. New head of National Education Union accused of inciting violence at pro-Palestine rally. I'm looking now at the fact that he clearly, he said that he thinks that our institutions and our society is fundamentally racist. Is he going to be saying to teachers, teach your kids this?
Look, many teachers are already doing this. To be fair, though, and it's the only good news I've got, only 9% of his members actually took part in that vote. And so, it's not as though it's a massive, overwhelming endorsement, but he's going to be in power. But we need to lift the lid on what's going on behind the classroom door. There's a lot of this taking place. And, not so long ago, a Labour Party conference in Brighton, we had a union representative, teacher representative, to loud applause saying, as long as a single child leaves school and votes Tory, the education system is failing. A few weeks ago, we had a member of that same union, the NEU, saying the only good Tory is a dead Tory. That's what we're in, Patrick, here. We're in a conflict here, a conflict for the soul of the country.
No, I'm sorry, but when people look at now teachers' demands, and I read stories like I did today about 1 in 3 newly qualified teachers skips meals because they haven't got enough money. Rubbish. Well, they don't look like skipping any meals for the newly qualified teachers that I see walking around. And also, as well, on top of that, I looked at the average salary. It's about 25 grand a year. That's outside London. There's no way you're telling me that you're skipping meals. You can end up earning a decent wage as a teacher. You get decent holidays, etc. Are they just now being led? When the calls for the next pay rise come, which is, I imagine, literally happening right now, it is, We're just looking at this and going, you're being led by a rampant Marxist who's got some pretty radical views about Britain. I'm not going to listen to your pay rise, I'm afraid. I think you might be a little bit woo.
But what we got here, Patrick, is lions led by donkeys. These union bosses are donkeys. They're narrow-minded. They don't see the bigger picture. And yet, look, I'm a teacher. Teachers do work very hard. There's some heroic figures in teaching. They work hard. They're paid reasonably well on international scales. They shouldn't be out on strike. We should have something like a Hippocratic oath used to have in medicine. You should never harm the children. And I say that as someone early in my career who was ordered on strike. I went on strike too. So I know what it's like. I'm ashamed of that. We should never go on strike. We do want teachers to have a good salary. And there's plenty of money in the education budget to pay teachers a good salary.
Yeah.
A majority of school staff are not teachers, so we need to cut back on the non-teaching staff.
Okay.
It's as simple as that, and the government needs to listen to this